Yeah, and you do some nice stuff with spinach. I like 1 in 6 over 40 have diabetes, just about anywhere in the world. We are predicting 500 million people with diabetes by 2030. That's a little bit less than the entire population of Africa. Cancer incidence has risen to 1 in 3. We have heart disease. In the West, Alzheimer's is actually already costing more than all of cancer and heart disease combined. I mean, we're not even speaking about infectious diseases yet. We're talking really about, in a sense, the diseases of affluence or the diseases of eating the wrong food and adopting a Western lifestyle. One of the reasons I love coming to Kenya is Kenya has, the best food. I mean, in Europe, we import, Kenya's food. It's so good. And yet, we have all this food in Kenya, but many people are choosing to drink the fizzy drinks and eat the junk food and the processed food and so on. And it's really terrible because it's making people very overweight. If a person is significantly overweight, their risk of diabetes goes up 77 times. So we desperately need now to learn that the major drivers of today's diseases is actually poor nutrition. These very, very sugary foods are attractive. I mean, number one is Homo sapiens, we like sweet foods. For example, I always say, eat your fruit, don't drink it, because nature never packages sugar without fiber. And what the fiber does, it means the sugar slow releases. But we like the sweetness, so we've learned how to extract just the sugar. And when the companies sell us a fizzy drink that's very sweet, I mean, we love it. It tastes good. It gives you an instant effect. But we're sort of ignorant. We don't realize that that's what's causing the problem. We have in our bloodstream at any one point in time 3 teaspoons of sugar, glucose. That's what you need to stay alive. But if you have a can of fizzy drink, that is 10. So where does the extra 7 go? And the answer is it goes to your liver, and your liver turns it to fat, and it stores it around your middle. So when you get abdominal waist gain, you know that you are having too high blood sugar. Very simple principle, for example, is that if you eat protein with carbohydrate, you feel much fuller for longer. So, for example, if I give you an apple as a snack, when you're hungry, does it satisfy you? The answer is not quite. You don't want more apple, but you want something. But if you have an apple with some seeds or some nuts, which is protein, you feel satisfied. If you start your day with toast and jam, it's like sugar and sugar. It's like putting rocket fuel in a Mini. So you get a quick burst of energy, then your blood sugar comes crashing down. Well, if you had egg and toast, that's good. The old school says egg is high in fat, you shouldn't eat eggs, you shouldn't eat nuts, you shouldn't eat seeds. But this is quite wrong. Eggs are really good food. So what you eat can not only make you smarter, it improves your mood, you look better, you lose weight, and it reduces your risk of diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer. Cancer incidence has gone up to 1 in 3 now, so the lifetime risk in most developed countries of developing cancer is 1 in 3. If you look at a country and how much it spends on health per 100,000 of the population, that does not predict at all how healthy the country is. And if you look at the numbers of doctors that there are in a country per 100,000, again, it does not predict the health of a country. So it's very likely that having more money to pour into healthcare and having more doctors and having more drugs isn't actually going to make a difference. True underlying cause has got a lot more to do with how we live. If you look into the 18th century anywhere, whether you go to the Mediterranean like Greece or even into the early Victorian age, the amount of vitamins and minerals people consumed from food was way higher than today because they ate twice as much. And they ate twice as much because there weren't cars, so they were walking. All work was physical work, really. And also there were no fridges and there was no junk food, so the food you ate had to be fresh. So people often say you can get all the nutrients you need from a well-balanced diet. Well, the answer is that is totally true if you live like a gorilla. And you are munching lots of fruit and veg and whole foods all day long and exercising. But nowadays we don't exercise. You know, most of us, we're at home, sitting, we get in the car, we go to work, we sit, we do no exercise. You just can't get enough. I was watching a TV program in London on gorillas in London Zoo, and the gorilla was taking these 4 orange, they looked like chewable vitamin C's to me, and the interviewer asked the zookeeper, what's the gorilla doing? And he said he's taking his vitamin C, 2 grams a day, which is about 20 Kenyan oranges, by the way. He said that's what the gorilla needs to stay healthy. That's what a gorilla would eat in a natural jungle environment. I'll take something else that's really popping up here big time, is vitamin D deficiency. Now, vitamin D reduces cancer risk, reduces heart disease risk, strengthens the bones, and strengthens the immune system. And it's made in the sunlight, acting on the skin. So one of the reasons why people get colds more in the winter is there's less sunlight. They make less vitamin D. Now, you and I, we might think, well, Kenya's got, fantastic sunlight. How could anyone be deficient in vitamin D? But the truth is, the darker your skin, the less you absorb, the more you're covered up, the less skin exposure you have. And many of us, you don't make vitamin D behind glass. So again, if you live in your house with glass windows and you drive in your car in glass and you work behind glass, it may be that you spend less than 10 minutes with any sunlight exposure, perhaps only onto a small part of your face. So there are 3 golden rules. One is to eat foods that release their sugar content slowly. The second is to eat protein with carbohydrate. And the third is to graze rather than gorge, which means breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and 2 snacks. So, starting with breakfast, cornflakes, they release their sugar very fast. Oat flakes, that's porridge oats, is very slow. So if you have an oat breakfast, like porridge for example, that's much better. Apples and strawberries, very, very slow. Bananas and raisins, fast. So this morning I had oat flakes porridge with apple on it. Similarly, I want to have protein. So if I have milk with my porridge, or if I put seeds on. So this morning what I did was to put pumpkin seeds on my porridge. A seed or a nut is protein. If you have toast and jam, that's sugar and sugar. But if you have toast, and it should be wholemeal, brown toast with egg, that's protein, carbohydrate. So that would be good. I want to have a snack in the middle of a day when my blood sugar is starting to dip. So I'll have a piece of fruit, but I'm going to have it with some nuts or seeds or peanuts or cashews or almonds or whatever I can get. And the combination is excellent. At lunch, half of what's on the plate is vegetables. So it might be spinach or salad or carrots or peas or whatever there is, beans, whatever is available. A quarter is protein. So it's a piece of meat that would fit into the palm of your hand, or if you can, some fish, or if you're vegetarian, some beans. And the other quarter is the starchy carbohydrate. And this is your potatoes, rice, pasta, ugali, and so on. So it's probably less ugali, meat, more vegetables. And then again, an afternoon snack. And then dinner, similar to lunch. So what you've got here is 5 inputs of food, which is keeping your blood sugar nice and even. When you're thirsty, drink water. 70% of the increase in sugar has come from drinking sweet drinks, even fruit juice. If I give you an orange to eat, you'll probably eat it and enjoy it, but feel quite full. But if I give you a large glass of orange juice, it's maybe the juice of 4 oranges. Would you eat 4 oranges? No way. So in the fruit juice, you've taken the fibers out and they fill you up. So it's better to drink water when you're thirsty. If I have fruit juice, I either have the juice of 1 orange, so it's small, or I dilute it with water. It's terribly easy to get too much sugar by having lots of fruit juices. When you eat the right food and take the supplements, there is one significant problem that happens, and that is your energy level goes through the roof. And you start to wake up at 6 in the morning, fully alert, with lots of energy. Then you want to exercise. So I found that if you learn how to stabilize your blood sugar, take the right vitamins, your energy goes up, and then you can exercise. The older you get, the more important it is to not only be aerobically fit, which means running, walking, cycling, and so on, but actually also to build muscle. because old people lose muscle tone, and then you see the back, sort of closes in and they shrink. So you need muscle, and muscle actually helps to reverse what's called insulin resistance, diabetes, heart disease, and so on. So you need to do what's called resistance training, whether it's weights or springs or, it's something where you're actually building some muscle. It's very important as you age. What happens for most people with diabetes is they start to take more and more drugs, and gradually their condition gets worse, their kidneys get damaged, their eyes get damaged, they start to lose their eyesight, then their nerves get damaged, so they start to lose feeling in the extremities, and many end up having amputations. In the UK, we went on television and said, give me a type 2 diabetic, give me 6 weeks. This girl had had diabetes for 1 year, and at the end of 6 weeks, she didn't have a single symptom or blood test that would have any doctor diagnose her as diabetes. We have another case in the book of a lady who had had diabetes for 15 years. She was injecting insulin, and in her case, it took 13 months to get to the point where she needed no insulin, no drugs, and had no measure that would have her diagnosed as diabetic. So if you're really willing to go for it, and that's what this seminar is about, you need to change the diet to what's called a low GL, or low glycemic load diet. There are certain supplements, especially the mineral chromium, that really help. Exercise is a vital piece of the equation. But I do want to say, for anyone listening, don't change your medication without talking with your doctor. But if you do all this, it will be necessary to reduce medication. And of course, that's very good news.